fun. So
And
excited.
let's see what else. Yeah. Yeah. The other big thing I talk to a lot of people about is the fact of, um, depending on where you live, the weather. Like if we get 2 rainy days in a row, daycare
That's it.
numbers will jump like 10 to 12 dogs a day. Or
Yeah.
those long cold snaps. Yeah, we'll jump 15 dogs a day for
So
like
you
the
go
entire.
up in the rain and
Yep.
up in the cold? Oh, we go
Because
down.
nobody wants to go outside and walk their dog. They don't want them in the backyard,
Ah,
messing up the grass. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
We go down if it rains for a day or two because we're indoor outdoor facility. People are like, I don't want my
Oh,
dog to get dirty. So
sure.
like they'll hold everybody home if it's a rainy day or it's cold. I don't want them to go, I don't want the dog to get cold. So then they'll, and I mean, we have heat. It's not like, and we have jackets
Right,
for
right.
everybody, but
Yeah.
like, and then by day three of rain, then we're slammed because people are like, the dog's been kept up for 2 days.
Right.
Then right? So
Yep. Yep.
it's funny. Yeah. Different sides of the country have totally different,
Correct.
um, stuff. Oh, how funny.
Yeah. Yeah. The only time that where it's like we won't get dogs is if it's ice. So if it's like super icy, then they're
Because
like,
people
yep,
just stay home.
yep, they just stay home. They're like, I'm not
Yeah.
traveling. School's canceled. Cool beans. No worries. So yeah, so then we might
Yeah.
have, if an average day is 86 dogs, we might have 30 then on that day. But
Ugh.
yeah. So then I'm like, okay, who
Yeah.
wants to stay home from work? Because we don't need you.
Yeah. I mean, that happens here sometimes if we have a
Yeah.
rainy week and we're like, there's some flooding going on. It usually kind of works out that the number of staff that can't make it in is about the
Oh, there
same
you
as the
go.
number of dogs that don't come in.
There you go. Yeah.
Depends on which side of the county you're coming from, but
Sure.
or worried that they can't make it back home, like it's a busy day, but we might have
Right.
some downed trees or something, like that would be a big reason. If you live out in the country, people are like, I don't
Yep.
want to not make it home to my dogs. So it's weird. Yeah, it's a weird business. Nobody quite gets it if you're not in it,
Correct.
like, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And
I'm in
trying to like
some,
explain to people like, oh, it's supposed to storm this week. I suppose that, that means like you won't be that busy. And I'm like, no, it means I'm going to be busy because any dogs that have sound phobias and storm phobias, they'll bring to daycare for the day. So that way
yeah.
we get them tired and, wore out. So then they're not as horrible at home. Like, no, it's totally opposite.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in a couple of business buying groups. I have a couple other businesses that are not dog related.
Uh-huh.
And it's always fascinating to chat about the expectations. And some people are, who don't have dog experience are going to like, look at a dog business for sale, let's say.
Yeah.
And and I go, well, did you check on this? And did you check on that? Wait, how much dog experience do you have? Because this feels like one of those businesses that you can't learn on the job. Like
Right.
some things, but like general dog care, if you haven't, if you've never had a dog, like this might not be the business for you
And
because
it is amazing how many people who don't own a dog or haven't had a dog in a long time are like, oh, I want to get into the business. And I'm like, "Hmm,
hmm,
let's reconsider. Open
that's
up a med spa. Do a med spa.
med spa sounds great. Yeah, med spas are big right now. I know a couple people at those same things that have med spas, and I'm like, that sounds great. But honestly, if yeah, no dog, it's actually pretty dangerous. It's kind of dangerous to
100%. Yep.
pop into
Yep.
something like this if you don't have any. If you can do pretty great in business, jumping from business to other businesses without, but when you start mixing in like animal care, like it gets a little bit squirrely.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Well, and like my facilities, we do cats, ferrets, parrots, and potbelly pigs. So then
Oh
we're
my gosh.
jumping
Where do you
species
put a pot-bellied pig?
in the cat room. And
Okay.
we have 4x4 wire kennels. So then
That's
the sticks
awesome.
in there. Yep. And they are very messy.
Hmm.
I wouldn't say that the cats enjoy having a pig visit. So,
No. We when we first started, we had cats also and small animals. And
mhm.
I think the those little piggies, the tiny piggies,
Pocket piggies.
no, it's not a real pig. It's why can't I think of what they're called? My
Teacup
kids had them.
pigs.
No, they're not real pigs. They're like the tiny little like rodent pigs. Help me, somebody.
A
Hold
guinea
on.
pig?
Yep.
A guinea pig.
There
There
you
you
go.
go. Thanks, Kristen. Okay, we had guinea pigs, and it came. I'm not kidding you. It took the entire fridge full of vegetables because they were here for 10 days, and they had an entire 5-page feeding plan, and for
Yeah.
10 bucks a day. And then literally down to the notes were how to particularly it likes to be scratched. There's two of them, how they like to be scratched on their butt, specifically which side of the rump they like the best. And I five like 10 days, 2 pigs, 5 pages of instructions, 10 bucks a day. I went, you know what? I quit. No
Yeah.
more guinea pigs. Like it's just not worth it. To the guinea pig, we decided real quickly was not worth the juice, so to
Yeah.
speak. But it was funny. It makes for a funny story. But she was not. She was serious. It was a serious guinea pig care plan. So I'm going to leave that up to somebody else.
There you
Maybe
go.
suggest somebody watch them at home.
Yeah.
Um, but another place in town does parrots and things like that. I love parrots. I could do a parrot. But
Yeah. The birds
um,
are always fun. We enjoy the birds. Uh,
yeah,
they're always interesting. Yeah. Well, if
yeah.
you are just joining us, everybody, go ahead and chime in where you are located at. So I'm in Wisconsin. Alicia, you are in California.
California.
There you go. Miss
Mhm.
Kristen's in Wisconsin with me. Our weather here, we're starting to turn into fall, which we love. Hoodie season. We love hoodie
Oh,
season.
wow.
I'm in Los
Yeah.
Angeles, California, in the Riverside area. It's triple digits all week long.
Wow. Yeah, I'm in
Um,
Northern California. It is 78 degrees today.
See, 78 I could
Wow,
do.
lucky you.
Pretty
Yeah.
great, actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty great. It's the weather that keeps us here.
I was just
It's
gonna
not the
say,
taxes. It's not the taxes. It's the weather.
right?
Hmm.
Oh Lord. Yeah, it's always amazing to me when I travel, like the variations in temperature and whatnot. So yeah. Yeah, I went to
Yeah.
Norway this summer and I did
Oh,
not
I saw
expect
your
it to
pictures.
be, yeah, I didn't expect it to be so humid. So I wasn't quite prepared for that. I don't know why.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I guess you wouldn't think. You think it'd be fairly moderate.
yeah, yeah. We also
Yeah.
happened to go when it was their hot spell. They're like, oh, it hasn't
Oh,
never been this hot before as we're dying because they don't have air conditioning. We're like, yeah,
great.
well, it's a fabulous 95 degrees with humidity, so we're doing just fine. Yeah.
Norway, that would be neat. That
There
sounds like
you
a fun
go.
one.
Yeah. All right. Oh, we got our friends from Australia joining us. Love to see our international friends popping in. Always cool. Pennsylvania, California. Look at all that. Everybody's chiming in.
Fabulous.
All the good stuff. Right. I'm going to shut that part off. We are 5 after, so people are just going to keep chiming in, but we will get down to business so that way everybody can be on their merry way at a decent hour. You know, it's always one of those, right? When we're trying to accommodate as many people at the right time as we possibly can. But please keep chiming in as where you're from. It's just super nice to kind of know where everybody is hanging out from and where our audience base is. So if we have specific questions and how it pertains to your geographical area, we can certainly try and answer those. So without further ado, we have Alicia Collins. She is the founder of Canine Activity Club in Sonoma, California. As she said, the northern part. Sonoma County's largest and most top-rated daycare, boarding, and training facility. And you have 50 employees, which for some of us is like, whoosh.
Right?
I
Yeah.
just did a staff training and had 27, so I'm going 50. Holy macadoodle.
It's a lot of humans.
A lot of humans,
Yeah.
yes, a lot of humans, a lot of
Yeah.
personality.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, so along with that entrepreneurial spirit, Alicia has spent over a decade building growth-focused environments for pets and professionals. I know she contributes to a lot of publications. She comes to seminars. She gives speeches at various organizations as well. So we love that you are joining us and helping us to dive in a little bit, you know, as it says, how to win back our business from Rover, which I think all of us know has taken its toll. you know, post COVID. And yeah, so without further ado, please take it away. I will pop on and off periodically to add some commentary or to let you know the chats. And then you let us know if you want questions interjected, or we'll just monitor them and wait till the end.
Yeah, I would love people to pop in. I can't see questions. Maybe I'm not looking at the right thing, but if you can
Nope,
help
you're all
me with
good.
that, I think it'd be much more interesting if we turn it into a conversation versus me going through 10 slides and talking at people. So please jump in. And
Perfect.
Perfect. Okay. So thanks for having me and the dog handler members for joining in today. I'm going to show you how Nuzzle can help you expand your reach, support your highly trained team, and keep clients within your network, even when your facility's at capacity. Let's see what's on. You already gave me this wonderful introduction, but the only thing missing is my adorable um, dog, Rhino. So he gets to be famous too. I always think it's fun. I'm also a PACC certified operator in California, which I think is pretty neat, and I love supporting that organization. Let's see what's next. So this is about what pet parents are looking for. This is the Uber Airbnb era. Pet parents want convenience without sacrificing quality. They're looking for a combination of speed, trust, and value. Fast, convenient booking. Many of us do that through some of our own existing software, customized, quality-driven care, trusted, vetted providers. And Eve, you travel frequently. 10 years ago, would you have imagined using your phone to order a ride from a stranger?
Oh my
Like
gosh,
just
no, I
showing
know. I laugh about that all the time. I'm like, stranger danger, don't get into a stranger's car. You know, yeah, like don't stand outside of your hotel. You wait until the, you know, the taxi arrives, then you walk outside, right? Like all the things that have changed, yeah, over the
And the
last
apps have changed that a
years,
lot, right? Like they've really changed how
right?
we move through the world. And a lot of, like I said, a lot of us have apps at our facilities also. But the thought of actually having a stranger come to your house and watch your dogs is not foreign or scary to a lot of people. As a facility owner, it's kind of scary to me, and that's what prompted me to create Nuzzle. But for a lot of people, like they're totally used to, you know, Airbnbs where they go and stay in a random person's house, or a app where they jump into a dirty Camry in, Miami. I'm not saying that happened to me recently, but like we just do it. It's second nature these days. So we're looking for something that's a little bit different, that actually is safer and is a little higher expectations. So competing with Rover. This comes up a lot at our industry events, and so I thought it would just be good to start with that. Eve, do you mind if I ask you questions in between? Any experiences with losing clients to pet sitters or?
Yeah, yeah. So we have found, because I went on Rover actually last week, and I found 6 illegal dog daycares. Where people are
Full
like, oh, I
daycares.
work from
Okay.
home and I'll take six dog daycare dogs in my house while I work from home. And I'm like, vetting, fenced yard, who's watching the dogs if you're working from home, you know, health certificates, like all that stuff. So yeah,
Mm.
it's a thing. I had a lady that actually last year came to me and said, yeah, I was using in-home dog daycare, and I'm like, there's no in-home dog daycares in my city. I'm like, well, how much were they charging you? Oh, $15 a day, and then he would just take my dog down to the dog park.
All heard, some of the horror stories. Again, that's
Yeah.
what prompted me to create this new business of ours. But we actually surveyed our entire 20,000 client list recently, and I was actually shocked at the results. And over 50% of our daycare and training clients do not use our boarding. Right? Like shocking. So they like us. They are already a client. We have an established rapport, but they would rather have a family friend or Rover, somebody from Rover or any of the other. I'm gonna bang on Rover today, but any of the other apps, right? They'd rather have one of them come to the house. And they've asked many, many, many times over the years, can so and so in the daycare lobby just watch my dog, and I haven't had a way to do it. Like as a business owner, there's not a way for me to make that affordable. But I actually was still shocked at the results that 50% do something different. And so to me, that says there's a giant need and a gap of service for our clients. I'm happy to share that poll or the survey that we created. It's an easy thing that we can send you a link for. Anybody who wants to do a survey to their own clients and just get more into what their clients are looking for. I suggest people do that occasionally anyway. It's a eye-opening
100%,
experience.
because you would be amazed at what you'll learn.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. So Nuzzle is a marketplace. It's designed to reflect a higher standards and not compromise them. Sorry. Our Nuzzle pros are self-employed, but agree to a code of conduct and are provided best practices and guidelines as part of a commitment to professional excellence. Most importantly, they are actually employed at facilities. And that is the main requirement, the first requirement for being part of our team here at Nuzzle. We have a little, if I can see everything's blocking my own screen, you guys. I can't see my own thing. So there's a Nuzzle versus Rover comparison here, just to give you guys a quick overview that we have facility trained pros versus random hobby babysitters. We are quality first versus price first. There is a lowest price leader with some of these online ones where the cheapest wins, and that is not our avatar of clients. We're looking for people who really want to put quality first and are willing to pay for it. We have vetted professionals that are trained, which is why we're talking to Dog Handler Academy people today. And right? Yeah, very important, very important. And our Nuzzle pros have individual liability insurance as well that we monitor. So I have a quick little video. Let's see if you guys can hear it. That'll be interesting. Hold on. Okay, this meeting's being recorded. Move this over here. Give me a second so I can see what I'm doing, because I can't push the play screen. Oh, there it is. Let's see if you guys can hear it, but this is just a little quick experience from the customer side, just to give you guys an idea. Can you hear the music? Yeah. Yes? No?
Nope, no music.
No music. Okay, well, I'll talk. How about that? Wonder where that came from. Hold on. Visit Nuzzle.pro. Play. Oh, now it won't play. Well, okay. We'll send you guys that if you want to see it. But it's a very clean, easy platform, very similar to other marketplaces where you go in and you pick your zip code, the available pros in your area pop up, and what facilities they're associated with. And then you can pick daycare or boarding or dog walking or pet taxing, and all of those things we can adjust based on each location. Okay.
So as the facility, then I can choose what it is that I want to offer in the app.
Yeah, you're technically not offering it, but you can choose what services are associated with your with our arrangement. So
Gotcha.
if you don't want a Nuzzle Pro that's associated with you to be able to do home daycare, like you were just talking about.
Yep.
You're like, this crosses some lines. You can't possibly, may not be licensed. There's different areas all over the country have different rules. And so if that
Yep.
feels like it's outside of your comfort zone, you can say, we don't offer that. You're not actually offering it, Nuzzle's offering it, but we as a team, want to collaborate and make sure that it feels comfortable to you. So Canine Activity Club, my business, is signed up as the first test facility, and we don't, it didn't feel right to offer outside training. Our training department is enormous. That felt like an overstep. So I haven't figured out the right way to price it. And so I have that turned off for our location. But other locations who don't have a training program might feel good about that, might feel fine about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because there's not, we remove the competition aspect because the facilities are making a shared profit. It's not necessarily about the profit sharing or losing any revenue from it. It's more about just comfort level, if that makes sense. So, wanted pet facilities that train their staff and want to grow. So we are very training focused, just like Dog Handler Academy is. And we know that one facility can't compete with Rover's Reach, but many of us, united in quality, absolutely can. Nuzzle lets us show pet parents that there's a better option, trained professionals supported by real businesses delivering safer, high quality care. And the goal is, again, safety first. And we can't prevent everything, right? We can't, we just through education, through training, have best practices. And it's really trying to keep dogs safe and in happier, healthier environments for them.
No, and you're really spot on that. You know, we can't prevent everything, but if we have the trainings in place and you have the, hey, I do 2 leashes and hey, I have 2, you know, gates between exits, right? Like you have all those things to at least say, I did the best that I possibly could to prevent such a thing from happening.
And honestly, that is what birthed this business is that I think I was several, tragic reports of news reports online of something that happened with a pet sitter. Could have been a Rover one. I don't know specifically, but it was a pet sitting story. And every time I said, none of my employees would do that. Nobody would leave the door open to go get the mail. Like if you've lasted, we have a minimum of 1,000 hours of experience to be included in this program. So if you've lasted with us full time for over 6 months, you aren't leaving gates open, or you didn't make it 6 months, right? There's just general professional handling that when people handle dogs, consistently, 20, 30, 50, hundreds of dogs a day, you get much better at it than an average person. And that's our goal, is just to increase the safety by, providing professionals for that care. So one of my employees did a cute little quote. I won't read the whole thing, but she's an employee at Canine Activity Club. She's also signed up as a Nuzzle Pro. I asked her to do a little quote for this presentation we're doing today. And my favorite part is that she says the clients have a higher level of trust with her. And there's a couple photos also. I froze for a second. Sorry about that. My screen froze. There's also some photos of Morty and Millie, 2 bulldogs that were Canine Activity Club clients for a very long time. I want to say they're one of our original clients. We just had our 11-year anniversary. And so they're tenderly loved by the staff here at Canine. And when we had to actually say, they're getting too old to be safe here, we're worried that there's going to be an issue while you're gone. They started needing some additional meds and additional care, and it just kind of a little bit past what we were comfortable with as a team. But it was perfect timing because they transitioned to a Nuzzle Pro, and now they have a sitter come out to the house, and then Canine still gets paid. Actually, the same as what I would have made if they stayed in-house. So it's a win-win. Yeah. So let's see what we have here. Okay, this has a couple steps that we can go through together. Why join the Nuzzle Network? Hopefully we make an appealing argument of why it's a good thing for facilities to join with us. The number one reason, and what is the driving force behind it, is we share the profit with facilities. I think it's a really important thing to try to eliminate the competition. Historically, Rover and pet sitters have been a competition to us facilities at home, brick and mortar facilities. And I really wanted to remove the barrier by creating a profit share that made sense to facilities. So you also get new revenue from services you don't offer. So part of that shared revenue is say I don't have a pet taxi service. I also don't offer dog walking at Canine, but a Nuzzle Pro could do that. And then I'll still get some revenue from something that we couldn't offer anyway, which is kind of fun. And then we are also customizing the rates to reflect your existing profit or for similar services. So We can, I can give you a quick math on it for everybody who's listening, all these facility owners that
You
I'm
know I
assuming
like numbers,
like
right?
math and numbers. So here's an example, quick example. K9 as a facility has a 20% profit margin.
Okay.
We charge about $74 a night for boarding. So our profit is $14.80 every time a dog
Okay.
stays the night with us. The facility profit share from Nuzzle is 15%. So as long as the Nuzzle rate for an overnight at home service is over $99 a night, then the facility is making the same, if not more, than if the dog stayed in-house. And that's how we break it down for each new location, is we're gonna get a spreadsheet out. We're gonna look at your
Yep.
single dog rate, your multi-dog rate. We're gonna do an average. And then we're gonna pop it over and create rates that make sense so that you don't have to worry about sending a dog somewhere else. So that's the fun part, because I like math and I certainly love profit as much as I love, maybe not as much as I love dogs, but a lot, because it's part of what keeps this business moving all the time. Number two, Nuzzle's clients see your name and can choose to use you directly for services. So say Sarah used a Nuzzle because they were already a client, and then she referred her buddy Joan, who now had, a Nuzzle team member come to her house, but then she goes, oh wait, I might want to use that other facility for daycare because this isn't offered. So it just expands the network. The goal is, always, we pay a lot in our advertising and marketing to get our name out there. And so the more times people see your name and have positive experiences, the better.
Right.
Number three, where's my number three? Supporting retained staff. That's number three. I got to keep moving my things on the screen so I can see what I'm talking about. Supporting client side gigs can help retain top talent by A, building loyalty through trust, B, reducing burnout with creative outlets, C, developing transferable skills, D, encouraging transparency and honesty, and positioning your facility as an employer of choice. So this is always one of those things that has a lot of questions, because I know from my experience in other events and with other facility owners, 50-50, some owners are very open to and know that their team does side gigs. Some of them might drive for Uber or deliver through Uber Eats or one of those.
Yep.
And or many are likely signed up already on platforms. And then there's always a handful, maybe a little more than a handful, of facility owners that have a hard no policy on and non-compete agreements, and are really worried about what their team does outside of their business hours. So it's something we can certainly dig into and talk a little bit more about. It might be an interesting discussion. I lean towards obviously promoting side gigs. As in my early 20s, I worked jobs, but I also was an independent bookkeeper, and I did all kinds of other stuff, and I didn't lean so heavily on my employer for 100% of my income. I knew that if I wanted more, I could go and do more things. And so I tend to want to foster that with my team. But it's certainly something to chat about, because it's something that comes up, and I'm happy to take any questions if we want to pause for a minute and chat a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things, most of our employees are in theory shift workers, right? Like they work a morning shift or an evening shift. And so they have extra time. And it's just better. I think it's just better to own it with your staff. Like you said, a lot of the staff are probably already doing it behind your back. So yeah, why not just have it up front? And I like your perspective of, the dog's kind of aged out of the facility. So then it kind of kicked in. One of the questions, how do you keep the client carer relationship inside the Nuzzle platform?
Can they expand on that a little bit? The client care relationship? Well,
I think it's so you tell your staff, go ahead and do this. And then staff and client now say, hey, instead of doing it through Nuzzle, let's do it truly as a side
Ah,
gig outside. Yeah.
yeah. There's not a 100% way to prevent that. We do have um, some signed documents. We do also encourage, there to be no, not non-compete, but not solicitation. And so if there's a
Okay.
solicitation outside of something that is an employer, approved relationship, that technically there could be some employment issues around that. The employer could say, hey, you've now bounced because now you um, got squeezed out. So there's a couple ways that we have, in
Okay.
our signature pages, and that they're agreeing to not go outside. They also, don't end up with some of the guarantees that we offer, and um, and so it's not impossible, but I would say if it does happen, it was going to happen anyway, right? Like if it was going to
Sure.
happen, it's going to happen through Rover or one of those other places. But we do have a couple fail stops, a couple stops along there to try to keep
Yeah.
it in the
Well,
platform.
and like you said, from the client's perspective, why would you want to step outside of Nuzzle when then you lose all those kind of protections from the client's perspective, of
Yeah.
liability and waivers and that
Yeah, if
type
they're
of
gonna
thing.
ask for
So,
that, and we do coach the Nuzzle team members about it. If they're gonna ask for that, they're usually doing it because they want to pay less, which doesn't actually help the Nuzzle Pro in the
sure.
long run. It can cause there's a couple little stops that we have in there, and then we also acknowledge that there's not a way to completely prevent it either.
Right.
So, we know it's
Which
a
is
we
with
know it's a
everything,
thing.
right? Like
Yeah,
we
yeah.
can have everybody sign, do the things, but at the end of the day, everybody's at choice. So, uh,
Exactly.
another question. How often does Nuzzle validate that the person is still employed at the facility?
So we initially evaluate it, and then part of our agreement with the facilities is that when you have an employee leave, you will let us know. So
Ah,
that way
okay.
we're right on top of it, and we don't want there to be a gap. Because we hope that that arrangement actually helps keep employees with you and keeps them from jumping to another job. Because if they do that, then their arrangement with us will be terminated as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What are ways, what you do to protect the staff from going into unsafe environments? Because we hear some of those as well.
Yeah, that is a concern. So there is some vetting that we do on both sides. We want to make sure that we don't do a full background check, certainly, but we do a meet and greet. Everybody's required to have a meet and greet. I actually had somebody request a service the other day. It was same day within a couple hours, and that's just not a professional way to do pet care. So we opted to, we passed on it and said, no, we have to do a meet and greet. We have to make sure the team member feels comfortable. And then we do a lot of coaching, because they are independently employed, which is what they would be if they went through Rover or anywhere else, and would
Right.
have the same kind of experiences as an independent contractor. So we want to give them lots and lots of support, and exactly what to say if they feel uncomfortable. We have templates for them to decline service or to reach out to us, so we can reach out and decline service. Yeah. We want to be as supportive as we can in that, so that they don't have to be the bad guys every time and say it just isn't a good fit, or
Sure.
but yes, there are all kinds of, when you start going into people's homes, there's all kinds of
Yep.
things, and it might be like, oh, we want somebody to spend the night, but maybe there's not a appropriate sleeping situation, and you can say, hey, that isn't an option for your condition, your current situation, but you can have this instead. So we're
Gotcha.
supportive of the team, the Nuzzle team, as a business, for sure.
Are the meet and greets, do they get paid to do the meet and greet?
They do get paid to do the meet and greets, yeah.
Fabulous.
Charged and paid,
Um,
required for anything that's gonna be walking in. I can't even imagine going into a house with nobody home and just leashing up somebody's dog. Like
let's go, Fluffy.
my dogs wouldn't be having that at all. So, most of my dogs are fairly protective, so I'm always very careful about the safety of, of a team member, for sure. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Let's see
Any
here.
other
Oh,
questions on there?
yep, one more question here. If a client, do the clients only see my company's Nuzzle employees, or do they see all Nuzzle employees and where each of them works in our geographic area?
So it can be two ways. There's a link where if you, let's say an example is a long-term client calls us for last weekend before when we were full and says,
Yep.
hey, I need a last minute arrangement. And I say, so sorry, we're full. But some of our team members are listed on Nuzzle and you can hire one of them directly to come to you. Then I have a link that only shows those team members that are associated with your facility. If they do a random search from our website and they just find us organically, then they can type in their zip code. And if there's 3 different locations within a radius, they'll see the 3 different facility locations as a search, and they can pick whichever facility they feel the most. And then they can see if there's times available, and if there's not, they can do the other ones.
Gotcha.
And if does that make sense?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Because I
And-
certainly wouldn't, as a facility myself, I certainly wouldn't want to refer people out to another facility group, right? But as a marketplace, we want to be findable.
Oh yeah, 100%. Do you ever see a scheduling conflict where your staff is asking off for certain times because they have Nuzzle clients to take care of?
No, I would consider that a conflict of interest, you
Okay.
know, and we are very supportive of our facility arrangements. So we talk a lot about not doing that, and then they have to put in their availability based on what their schedule is. And so the clients actually book through Nuzzle on who's available and who's not. They're not booking directly with the Nuzzle Pro.
Gotcha.
So either they're available or they're not. But that would be a conflict for sure for me as an employer if they wanted time off to go do something. So that is highly discouraged.
Gotcha. And then you had talked a little bit ago. So like if your boarding is at $75 a night, and then Nuzzle Care would be at like $99. So you price it higher than what you currently offer your boarding.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, it's meant to be a convenience service, right? And I expect it to cost more
premium.
money,
Yeah.
than being in-house. So, and again, it's not by any means meant to undercut the facility. The goal is for it to be a revenue stream for facilities as well.
Right.
And so,
You
we
can
want
drive to
it
the
to work
grocery
both ways.
store or you can DoorDash it and just know that DoorDash is going to be more.
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, somebody coming to your house to care for your pet, you know, in their home environment should be more expensive. And I actually don't take care of cats here. We were talking about that before we started, but we used to do cats. So now, certainly of the 50% of people who are my current clients that don't use us, it could be because they have cats and birds and things like that at home. And when you're caring for multiple animals, it's obviously going to be more expensive too. Whether somebody's spending the night or doing an almost overnight, we have a couple options for that. But certainly going to be more expensive than staying the night at the facility.
Gotcha.
Or the numbers won't work.
Right.
Really.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you were going through the comparisons, you talked about insurance and whatnot. So, does Nuzzle set all of that small business piece up for the staffer, or is that?
Yeah, we have
us
a
as
way to walk
facility?
them through it.
Okay.
Nope, we have an arrangement with Pet Sitters International, and we have an arrangement with Pet Sitters Insurance. And so we walk them through and send them links. And that way, if for any reason their insurance lapses, then we get an email. And so we can keep on top of all that too.
Gotcha. So do the Nuzzle Pros get a percentage or is it a flat rate? Or
They
and then
get
do they also get tips?
They get a percentage
Okay.
/ flat rate, whichever way my my national pet attorney decides it has to be written, so that we are staying well within our 1099 laws. So it's currently a percentage, but it might end up being a percentage that is a flat rate, if that
Okay.
makes sense.
Yep.
And then they do get tips, and they get to keep 100% of their tips.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
And then is what they're making similar to like an hourly rate at work?
It's actually probably quite a bit higher than what they would make hourly at work. I mean, maybe for some things, for like dog walking, So say it's a 45-minute dog walk for canines. Pricing is $45 for a 45-minute dog walk. That's by the time it prices out, especially if you add a tip in there, it's more than what they would make hourly as an employee. If they do an overnight somewhere and we're actually calculating 10 hours overnight, then probably not. Because that's one of the reasons a lot of facilities can't do overnight
Right.
care legally, and many work into kind of a gray area, gray as in illegal area, where they have employees acting as 1099 contractors and doing overnight care. But so it's somewhere in between, but definitely for the drop-ins and the dog walks and maybe a pet taxi and things like that, it's higher than what they would make as an employee.
Gotcha.
And then
Sure.
they're going to be responsible for their own taxes.
Right.
And I mean, there's huge tax advantages to being being independently employed. So there's all kinds of additional education that we could do around that for them. I don't want to do anything that it's not good enough for them to not be an employee, right? But to have a little bit of a side gig means you can have some great write-offs also that reduce your taxes
Sure.
across the board.
You know, that could be the money that they're using to save up for their vacation or this, or, you know, new tires on the
Yeah.
car, right? Like so many times when I talk to people, why do you why do you DoorDash? Oh, I needed to buy XYZ, so I DoorDashed for a month. Okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. It can be a great, that's the point of it being, it's really supposed to be a side gig. So we limit the amount of time that they can actually book so that it's not going to be competitive with their hourly
Gotcha.
employment.
And then do you set up, so like you kind of talked about how your rates are set up so they're more than boarding with you. So are they competitive with Rover, or is it more a competition, so to speak, with your facility?
I would say they're competitive with other professional pet sitting services.
Okay.
That's the ones I look at. I'm not trying to compete price-wise with Rover. My 9-year-old nephew could sign up for Rover, and and
And
they would
your
say,
nephew would
okay.
probably do a better job. Like, let's be real, right?
I mean, this is true. This is true. He has some skills, but there really is a low, because it's so big, there is a lowest price, you know, who can come in at the lowest price. And some people do, overnight care for $25 or something, where they'll go stay at somebody's house for $25. And that doesn't feel like it's representing professionals to me. So we do want to be pretty competitive with other pet sitters that are professional and are licensed in the area. So it's not priced so far out of the realm that nobody will use it. It needs to be, within the ethos of that, if that makes sense.
Yep, 100%. No, I like that.
Perfect.
I like that. So number 4, I think we were on.
Number 4, thank you. Okay,
Right.
so we talked a little bit about that, but keep clients in your network even when you're full is a really big deal to me. I think it feels like terrible business to turn away clients and we just can't take every dog. It's not possible. Sometimes the dog isn't a good fit. Sometimes they're too old or too young. Sometimes they're too anxious. And sometimes we're just full, like we were talking about before. And it's much smarter business to refer them to Nuzzle, where I'm getting revenue back, than a local competitor. And when you just say, sorry, we can't take you, their option is to find something that works that weekend, and that might be who they use for the future. So I want to keep them in our network and foster that relationship as much as we can.
Second facility is very new, and we kind of bank on that. We kind of bank on other facilities being full and then them coming to us, and then we have to like prove ourselves, like, see, don't go back to them now, stay with us.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I grew originally.
Yeah.
When I first opened, other places were full. We would accept any dog, and we still have a very wide net. I'm proud of our skill set. I think we do a good job with all those dogs. But given the option to say, your dog actually would probably be happier at home,
Right.
is something that, when you have payroll to make, is a really hard thing to say. I mean, it just is. We do it, but would we do it more often if there wasn't that financial barrier to that? And then number 5 is, you know, as we grow and we are promoting Nuzzle as a company on social media and PR, we're going to be looking at some co-branding partnerships and things like that. There's no expense for facilities to join Nuzzle. Doesn't cost anything. There's no required marketing other than a couple things where you agree to email your clients and tell them that you know, this is a new exciting collaboration, or you've been accepted into the Nuzzle network, or, you know, all that kind of fun stuff. But there's no advertising requirements for Nuzzle. Okay, so that's the list of why we think it's a great idea. Why Dog Handler Academy facilities are a perfect fit is because you guys have a commitment to growth, and you're invested in staff training. And I think that's a really, really cool thing. It's not everybody. It really isn't. It's not everybody that is committed to continually improving on how they do things. So I think that's really important. Safety first, and you prioritize safety and standards again. You have proven expertise. I think that's really great. And your team's already qualified because they're already doing a training program that's verifiable, and it has amplified visibility. So we help you showcase that. And I think that's cool too, is that we can work together to, you know, make home pet care a little bit better.
Absolutely.
And
Setting
then,
that standard. I mean, that's really it.
yeah.
You're setting the standard for good quality pet care.
Exactly. And a quick step-by-step of how Nuzzle works from the facility perspective is, number one, you guys sign up through our little link that I'm going to share here in a minute. You join the network. Then we do a templated email to announce, we give you a templated email so you can announce it to your team. Hey, we're doing this. If you're interested in doing home pet care, here's a link for them to join Nuzzle directly. And then we come back and verify qualifications with you guys, either approving or denying the application. Part of that is trust. So even if somebody's been with you for a really long time, but maybe there's some issues about showing up to work on time, or, you know, something that doesn't feel like you want representing, you know, out in the public, then
Sure.
then we can definitely you know, we can definitely deal with that. And then we set up a group within our Nuzzle platform that is specifically to your team. And then you can go through and turn off or on services with me. Like it's a one-on-one kind of thing we set up for you on which services you want offered by the pros. And then we give you some templated emails for the announcement to your clients. So the clients know that you now have this additional way of helping them, even though you're not doing it directly. We're very careful about wording because there's a lot of legal things that we have to watch about not crossing over the independent contractor laws. So it's pretty specific. And then this has a link to our regular website with there's a Join Nuzzle pet care facility area on there, and it's got a couple quick questions, and it takes about a month probably from start to finish. It's pretty, you know, in depth by the time we get all the way through and make sure that the employees / Nuzzle pros that are joining have the insurance in place and things like that. We want to make sure that everybody's ready. And then we're doing open enrollment until September 15th. Might push that is that just past when your event is next week? Perfectly.
It is.
Okay. All right. Make sure. I was like, wait, somebody else did that for me. I want to make sure that is included in that, because I'm going to be there. I'm excited to be there.
Yeah.
And then we're doing that for the first like 10 locations, and then we'll be expanding in phases, because we want to make sure that we're very strategic about how we do it, and that we don't grow too fast, that we, you know, lose quality.
And that is the key. That is really the key.
Yeah, I think it's really important.
How do the staff get paid?
We do a weekly payout, but there's we track and do a report, and then we do a direct deposit to their account. Very similar to what they would get if they were doing a payroll service. We have a payroll service, but instead of doing it as payroll, they do it independent contractor, and then we'll do their 1099s later. But there's some in-house, it's not fully, it's, you know, this is not Rover, it's me. And so it's not fully automated. It means I'll be going through and pulling reports um, and verifying, you know, what services got done. And as we grow, we'll probably be adding some automations to make things, you know, smoother. But in the meantime, I'll be, you know, I'll be watching over it with kid gloves.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah.
If
Any
it is
questions? I
yeah,
made
if
it
it's,
through. I'm so
you
proud of
did,
myself.
yay.
Yay.
Let's see. Question is, if your staff is looking after a dog who usually attends daycare, do the
Okay.
staff bring the dog to daycare or do they leave it at home and the staff is simply doing overnights?
I think that would be an optional item, you know, it'd be a transport option,
Okay.
right? Like, if they already, like we have a daycare club, they already have daycare set up on Wednesday. If they are doing an overnight on Tuesday night and they agree to transport the dog for the client, then as soon as it gets on site, then it becomes the responsibility of the facility. They're there for daycare for the day, so to speak.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
that's how
right.
I would do it.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. Next question. Does Nuzzle plan to do any national or local marketing in the areas where facilities are signed up to help build awareness and compete with Rover?
I do. I do plan on doing some national marketing. Our first step, because again, I want to grow very strategically, and
Mhm.
our growth plan is specifically through facilities at this time. It might not be like that forever, but there is some plans of marketing, but I don't have a specific budget in mind or an exact plan. But I do have a marketing team, so it's on it's thought about, but it's not specifically planned.
Gotcha. Do the carers, so do the staff people, communicate with the owners through the platform so that way the facility can monitor it, or is it
They
direct?
communicate with the platform
Okay.
so that Nuzzle can monitor it. There has to
Mm,
be a break so that the facility doesn't have direct access to monitor it, and nor would you want the extra time involvement in scheduling and all those kind of things because you have your own business.
correct.
So just like if it was Rover, you wouldn't see, you know, the conversations and things like that. But Nuzzle can monitor it, and with everybody's best interest in heart, for sure.
Absolutely.
And if there's a question about timing and if somebody called in sick and if you wanted to know, hey, did they do something outside of, you know, in Nuzzle while they were not, when they were supposed to be at work, we can absolutely look into it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then do the pet cares, do the employees give updates? Like, is that part of the platform or do people pay extra for that? How does that get set up?
It's very similar to any of the other apps and platforms out there. They can do some GPS tracking. They can give report cards. They have an in-app messaging system. We can track health notes. There's health notes and notes that the pet parent can't see, so that if there's any kind of a care concern or hey, I met with this guy and let's say this is a, you know, protect the partner kind of concern. You know, I met with somebody and they were inappropriate or something. Not only if I knew about it, I would just ban them from the Nuzzle platform, but if there's any kind of personal notes that they wanted to be able to share with other care providers, we have a way for them to share notes without, just like Ginger, you know, there's ways to tag um tag dogs as, you know, reactive or super sweet and likes to snuggle in the bed. I don't know, but there is a lot. It's a very similar platform to what we're familiar with as a facility. And that was honestly the hardest thing to find. The hardest thing to find is a booking software that works like a facility in-house, you know, a brick and mortar facility software. Because I was like, how am I supposed to care for this dog if I don't have a way to track, you know, how much they're eating
Right.
and, you know, measure and report on whether they ate or didn't eat, or if they had diarrhea, or all the things that go with professional pet care. But I'm thrilled that I found a platform that works for it. So that's,
Gotcha.
yeah.
So you kind of touched on it, you know, if the employee is signed up through Nuzzle and they're supposed to go do a job tomorrow and they're sick.
Yeah. Well, the
What's
neat
plan
thing
B?
there, well, here's plan B. Independent things like Rover, there isn't a plan at all. But
Right.
with Nuzzle, there's the team aspect because there's multiple people with who are, already work together and know each other that are linked together. So they would reach out to Nuzzle and say, hey, I can't or cancel their appointment and it could be redirected to another Nuzzle Pro.
Gotcha.
And
Perfect.
if they can't, then it becomes another, one of those, just like just like how many times have I gotten a booking because the pet sitter got sick, right? Or there was a last minute change. Hey, can you take my dog last minute because the pet sitter got sick? So, as a platform, we can also encourage that people keep their vaccines up to date and
Right.
be available so that they can, if they have an emergency and they need to go into a facility, that's the next step. We refer you back to a facility instead of in-home care.
Mm, perfect. Ooh, this is a good question. So, chicken or the egg, cart before the horse. So, do we first determine how many of our staff might be interested and then sign up as a Nuzzle
Okay.
entity, just so that way then we don't sign up for Nuzzle and then none of our staff want to do it, and now we're referring, we're referring people to outside of our facility.
Oh, that is a great question. I love that. Well, we wouldn't go live until we actually had pros signed up.
Okay.
So you could sign up and then we could just slowly see how many pros. It depends on the size of your staff and how much everybody talks to each other and how much, how safe they feel to answer questions and things. It's not a terrible idea at all to pre, talk to the team and say, hey, is anybody interested in doing something like this? Or if you already know you have several team members who do things through Rover, would you be interested in a different platform that probably you make more money on than you would on Rover anyway, kind of, right? So
Yep.
honestly, I think it could be either. I think it could be either. I think if you have zero idea at all, that's okay because it also might prompt people who are doing home are not doing maybe Rover, but they're doing side gigs, doing something else, and given the permission to do it,
Right.
might do it. Yeah.
Yeah, my thought process too is, instead of doing Rover, do this. The way to talk to my staff is because if these are mostly our clients, right? Like you already have a relationship with that pet, it's
Yes.
safer than you just randomly showing up at some person's house and trying to let their dog out and the dog wants to eat your face.
Right. Yeah, there's really no safety parameters for
Yeah.
for Rover and things like that. So yeah, that's a great way to approach it.
Yeah. It's just in my head, I was thinking like, hey, those of you that want a side gig, you want to make a little extra cash,
Yeah.
etc. Here's what we're going to do. And the reason you should do this versus just doing it on your own, is it's mostly going to be our clients, so we know the dogs, that's a safety parameter and that type of thing. Yeah, my staff
Yeah.
know that I hound the safety thing constantly. I'm like, safety, safety, safety.
Yeah. And dual leash is one of our requirements for people
Yeah.
doing walks and about. I just can't imagine safely walking, half the clients can't get their dog in the parking lot on a harness without them slipping out of the harness and running, like
We just had that 2 weeks ago. Lady picks her
it's
dog up from
so,
daycare, comes walking back in. Hey, so she slipped out of her collar and she's running around the 3 houses next door. Can you help
right.
me? And she was
Yeah.
super calm, and we're like, okay. And like we all run outside. We're like, holy shit.
Yeah. I mean, we have a protocol for that. It happens
Yep.
in our parking lot and we're on a fairly busy road. And so, knock on wood, I mean, we have an amazing team. Knock on wood, nothing terrible has happened, but we have an amazing team who literally will go out and stop traffic in
That's
the road.
exactly what we did. Yep. The dog
Uh-huh.
was just bouncing around, and, so one of us is standing in
Yes.
the road stopping traffic. One person's got the hot dogs, the cheese, and the other person is going behind the dog to kind of scare him closer to the building. And then we're all like, everybody open your car doors. And sure enough, dog goes jumping into a car.
I caught a dog by doing that 2 weeks ago on a random street, opening my car door. They've been trying to catch it for an hour. I walked up and opened the door and said, "Let's go!" And he jumped in. It's
And
brilliant. I love
yep,
it. But yeah, I think it depends on your team. I think this is something you have to kind of look at as an individual, owner, knowing your team, and do you have a team of 5 or do you have a team of 45?
right.
And how many of them are already doing some side gig stuff? Are they wanting more hours, but you don't have more hours to give? Or like, where are the pain points? What problem is this, solving? But I think because there's no cost, to sign up and start kind of like, and we already have the emails made that we can use to like send to the team, hey, exciting news. We partnered with Nuzzle, or we've been accepted to the Nuzzle network is really the way I like to say it.
Perfect.
And here's what this means for the team. And we've set this up so if you want to do it, you can do it, and it's very optional. Then it's kind of no harm done if we get a couple steps in, and maybe only 1 or 2 people sign up. That's fine too. Doesn't have to be a
Right.
big group. Doesn't have to be
No.
a big group. It's not supposed to, equal the amount of, business you already have. It's just, supplement it and hopefully give clients an alternative when it's already set up and ready for them when you're
Yeah,
busy.
when you're full, 100%. And in my head, I'm even like, hey, we have this available to our staff. Um, you have to complete all of your Dog Handler Academy modules and be with
Absolutely.
us for at least 6 months, right? Like, so you can set some parameters,
Yeah,
and or dangle that carrot like, hey, you can go do this once we are confident that you are fully trained and that you've got some knowledge on safety procedures within our facility. Then you can be in this network. Then you can go do XYZ.
yeah.
Yeah, I
And
love
hopefully,
dangling
even
carrots.
because Dog Handler Academy is so awesome, hopefully, version 2.0 of Nuzzle, ends up having a education module with it. And,
Yeah,
for facilities that, have education, but maybe it's not as robust,
sure.
and it's like, hey, this is a great way um, to take ownership of your own education. I'm a lifetime learner. I've got like 3 different online things I'm doing right now. I've got a thing about horses I'm learning. I've got some meditation. I like learning new things. So I want to foster that in our make it available to our Nuzzle pros as well.
See, you belong to our club of we don't know what we don't know, so we need to go find out, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
No, huge. I mean, obviously we have the Dog Handler Academy seminar coming up next week. And then 2 weeks after that, I'm taking 3 of my staff to the Aggression and Dog Conference out in South Carolina. Like, we don't know what we
Great.
don't know. So you have to keep expanding that knowledge base. And I love your idea for your 2.0. And what do you do if you walk into that, safety pieces of walking into a house and, the animal is unresponsive? Like, what's that? What do you do if
Yeah,
you walk in and there's vomit everywhere? Like, those types of things that are specific to walking into somebody's home where you may
yeah,
not have all those resources that you do at your facility readily available. Um,
right.
and those types of things, procedures and stuff along those lines. Yeah, I always try and scare my staff to a certain level of, hey, something could go really wrong in this scenario. So let's talk about what could really go wrong. And then it will never go wrong because we've talked about it and then life is good.
Hopefully, but I do, the support is really important. And, when there is something scary happening, if they can go back to their Nuzzle, they have their own little app, right? And log in, and there's a what to do if category.
Yes,
So it really can help them walk through some of those, like how, when to call a owner, right?
right.
Like all those things. Yeah. What happens if a dog gets off a leash? Well, it shouldn't because it's double leashed. But
Correct. Correct.
but things happen. We know.
Yeah,
But
you're walking down the sidewalk and an off-leash dog comes up to you, you know?
exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
all kinds of things. So having a robust support for them is really important to me.
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
we just had our safety training meeting actually 2 days ago. So we
Oh, yeah,
go through
monthly.
all the what ifs.
Exactly.
And that way at least staff feels competent that there is a plan. They might fumble through it, but there is a plan.
Exactly. And pet care's, always got a never a dull moment.
Correct.
Yeah.
So many non-dull moments.
Yeah. Well,
All right.
I'll be at the event next week. I'm very excited about that. And I have
Perfect.
tons of time to chat with anybody who wants to dig into it. I actually love hearing what you think won't work and why it won't work. And it might be something that we can bend around, or
Oh,
or
sure.
if it's something I haven't thought of that we find a solution for, because I'm very solutions oriented. But feel free to pop by and chat with me at the event. And anybody who's interested in joining can go to we're www.nuzzle.pro, and then there's a link in there for facilities.
Perfect. I was just going to say, how do they find you if they can't make it to Chicago? Because
Yeah.
I'm sure the Australians would love to come over to Chicago, but for a short 2 days, 2.5 day conference, it's kind of tight.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so go to the website and track you
Go to
down.
the website. There's a link to facilities, and then there's a little application form. Pretty
Perfect.
easy.
Kristen,
Yeah.
if you could put that also in the chat so anybody watching this as the replay, they can have all that information available to them. So before we wrap up, any last minute questions from those of you that are on and joining us? They have been some great questions.
Yeah, thank you. I
Very
appreciate
in-depth.
that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
wonderful.
It's nice. I didn't have to make any questions up. Like, they were great.
I like it. Yeah, well,
Absolutely.
I get it.
And makes it easier. No, your staff are always looking for additional ways to make money, right? Like, I have staff probably at least every couple of months going, hey, can I learn grooming because I want to make more money? Or can I learn this, da, 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 da. And I may not have an opportunity for them, at that
Right.
moment to move into a different position. So in my mind, this is something that I can dangle out there and say, hey, like, for me to be a dog trainer with me, they need to be with me a year, unless they come with some great background. And so this would be, hey, you could go to this, and then in another 6 months, then, we could look at you as being a dog trainer. And maybe they wouldn't want to at that point. Maybe they just want to stay and do this as their
Yeah.
side gig. So,
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons that people need extra money. And
yeah,
actually, one of the Dog Handler Academy folks emailed me in advance, and he had really wonderful questions, actually. And one of them was like, what makes you think, top facilities aren't paying their employees enough that they would need a side gig? And I went, I don't assume, and it's none of my business what people need money for, to be honest with you.
correct.
I mean, there's a going rate, there's a range. We have a very open, transparent pay scale here. And sometimes people want something else, and that's their business, right? Like, sometimes they want to order Starbucks every day, have it delivered. Do you? Like, that's awesome if that's what you want to do. But don't
Right.
ask me for a raise necessarily to do that, right?
Right.
Like, years ago, one of my, actually one of the highest paid employees at the time, came to me and said, well, my truck needed some repairs. And so I need a raise because and I'm like, I'm not sure your truck has anything to do with the arrangement we have here, right? Like,
Correct.
that is outside of our arrangement. And while I empathize, and if you'd like more hours, or we can figure out something else, we can talk about that.
Right.
But I think it's how we promote, what our employer-employee relationship is. And and promoting side gigs is one of the ways to help people grow in a lot of ways and be responsible for their own finances. They've got extra things that come up, or they just want to save money, or they've got, college tuition that they want to pay off faster, or all kinds of things. There's lots and lots of reasons people do. Maybe they just don't want to watch that much TV, and they'd rather, get paid to hang out on a couch with one of the cool daycare dogs whose family's out of town for the weekend. There's lots of reasons for it, but I
Yep.
really appreciated getting some of those questions in advance because it had my own brain going, prior to,
100%.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's no different of before I left to go to Norway. I was like, okay, I know this is gonna be an expensive trip. Hey, you know what? We're not gonna eat out. We're not gonna do this, right? Like, so I'm cutting expenses.
yeah,
Hey, if I'm gotta go and lock up every night or do whatever, why not go do a dog quick, take the dog for a walk quick and all those types of things. Like 100%, like you said, saving up for the truck. I can right now I've already can think of 3 staff members that are like the way that their schedule is, they work really early morning and then they have classes midday. And then a couple nights a week, I have a little shift they can pick up. But then the rest of the
yes,
nights of the week, I don't. So this would be an opportunity for them to still be in the confines of, the dog industry, seeing our
yeah,
clients that they already know and dogs they already love,
yeah.
and making that happen for them. So yeah, I
Well,
love the
hopefully
idea.
we come up with something that, thank you, I appreciate that, that is win-win for everybody. And like I said, reduces the friction that historically has been between, the brick and mortars and the pet sitters. I know we've been selling ourselves against that for a long time. Um,
Well,
but it's not
I
going away. It's
yeah,
not
no,
going away.
no, yeah. I mean, there was a
Yeah.
little bit of it, pre-COVID, and then COVID came, and then, really those people couldn't do anything. So then we
Yeah.
flourished, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then post-COVID, when everybody had a dog, and then we were always full. Like then we had hit capacity for our
Yes.
brick and mortar. And then
Yeah.
that was where really the rovers and that side gig industry really took off. Was because we were full. We were maxing out.
Yeah.
Or we were taking dogs that we shouldn't have taken because everybody was giving us a hard time of, what do you want me to do with my dog? Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
full.
the industry is not stagnant. Like this industry
No.
continues to change, right? And I think the smart owners and the ones who, continue to flourish, so to speak, are, willing to look at the changes and meet the customers where they are.
Mhm.
Um, and that I think this aligns really well with that. Is go, okay, I hear you customers. A lot of you want somebody to come to your house. You know,
Right.
that's just where you're at. And that's not going to be all of you, but that's going to be where this chunk is. So how can I meet that need? And also, not break any labor laws.
Correct. Yeah, that's the other key piece.
Yeah. Yeah. It's real hard to do as a facility without an outside affiliate like Nuzzle.
Yep. No, that's really it too. Yep. As I've looked at stuff over the last couple of years, and I'm like, yeah, you get into that really gray area and nobody wants to get dinged by the IRS.
No.
So, so much better to not do that. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, it looks like we've
Fabulous.
answered everybody's questions. So thank you all for joining us
Yay.
live. For those of you that are watching the replay, certainly if you have questions after the fact, you can get a hold of us and we can connect everybody. Greatly appreciate all of you joining. And I know you Australians, it's midday. For all of you on the East Coast, it's late. And for those of you on the West Coast, it's time for supper, right? So
Yeah,
all
pretty
good
much.
things. And if you are watching this on the replay, you might miss us in Chicago, but those of you that are live, hopefully that we are going to see you in the next upcoming week. Dog Handler Academy always wants to bring you as much education as we possibly can. If you've never heard me talk before, it is safety for your staff, safety for the dogs, and safety for your facility are always what I look at. And so, in talking with Alicia and the Nuzzle program and how she's really incorporating that safety aspect in allowing staffers to come into a home and creating a lot of the just safety networking within this app is super important to me. So definitely check it out. And if nothing else, we'll see you in Chicago. So thank you, my dear. Enjoy your evening. And thank
You.
you all. We'll see you again soon.
All right. Thanks so much.